Obviously, it's a better field today, and but what we got to do to keep it a better field is we got to get better. We got to get better. I'm proud of our kids. They did a fantastic job. We didn't play perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We gave up a big play late in the game, and we gave up another big play early in the game, maybe on the second drive, if I recall right, or third drive, when we came off coverage and tried to get in on a play that we get somebody else that's going to make the play, and didn't make a good decision. But other than that, well, I'm gonna be critical, because I think it's the time for us to be critical. In terms of the little things that we got to do. We got to continue to grow fundamentally. From a technique standpoint, and that's what I'm talking about. We got a little soft inside in the running game for a short period. We got that straightened out, and our guys respond. The biggest thing that I take away from this past game is the way we came out and played the third quarter. That's probably the best quarter of football that we've played, and I think that speaks volumes for our players and their preparation, and then their willingness to go play. And you wonder how you're going to play after having a good first half. And usually in most ball games, that first 5 minutes of the second half is crucial. And we did a great job of responding to that. With that, I'll give you a little smile, and then we're going to take questions.
Raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Coach, you know how many shutouts you've had as a defensive coordinator in the SEC? 15.
Yeah, 15.
Yep. I don't know what the special feeling of the shutout as opposed to giving up 3 or 7, how that feels.
Well, it's hard, and when you accomplish that, then you've accomplished something, and certainly, you want to be able to do that. The goal is to have those things all the time, but obviously we're playing good football teams that have coaches and good players, and they're scheming, and sometimes it doesn't go exactly the way you want. But I think it's good for our players, and certainly what we do now and what we've got to do is build on that and build on that, and we played a good football team. It's not that we didn't, we just went out there and lined up against it. We played a good football team that's plenty capable of scoring. So, our players got some things accomplished on Saturday, and hopefully, they came out of that game and will continue to build confidence, because you got to have that to be a really, really good football team. And that's where we want to get. We're not there yet, but I think it will help.
Coach, I know defense is part of a shutout, but it looked like y'all got some help. The offense protected the ball, and
there's
field position was better.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, that's a big. You got to play as a team, and sometimes the unit looks better or maybe worse depending on what happens on the other side. But yeah, you got to do it as a team. It is the team, and certainly you look at time of possession. That's a big factor too. Big factor.
What's your take on Vandy's offense, especially Kyle Shermer? Having a veteran quarterback like that.
Well, it's a really good scheme. We're going to see a lot of shifts, a lot of motions, and it's going to be a little bit more pro style than what we've seen. Obviously, we've seen a little bit of that, but they know what they want to do. They're going to give you formations, and we're going to have some tight ends involved. Sometimes 2, 3 tight ends in the game at the same time, and they got an outstanding tailback. And to me, and I'm not taking anything away from quarterback, because he is a veteran quarterback. He does a really, really good job. But when you got a number 5 back there that you can hand it to or throw screens to that can do what he does, then it makes their offense a lot more difficult to defend.
Chavis and Cam Curl had his best game. What did Curl do particularly well?
I think it's playing sound. Pulley played really well, and one guy that in my opinion that gets lost in the shuffle is what Randy Ramsey did for us. I mean, the stats, you look at the stats and you're not going to see a tremendous amount of stats, but he was, in my opinion, one of the more dominating players, because he allowed other people to make plays because he did his job and did it as well as he's done it. And again, I think, you know, and I mention that because I want him to be praised for that. You know, it's not about all the time who makes the tackle. It's the soundness of the defense and how hard Randy played and chased the ball down the field. So, you know, he gave us a lot of things too, and there's no question about that. But, you know, and that's growing up and maturing and feeling comfortable in the scheme for all those young men that I've talked about.
So he was doing a good job of tying guys.
Oh, no doubt. Tremendous, tremendous.
You mentioned Pulley had a good game. Can you speak to what he did in the game that he did, and his response to that he lost some playing time at the start of that game?
Well, I think, you know, him losing playing time, I think it speaks volumes because, you know, when, you know, Coach Morris says we're going to do things a certain way, we're going to do that. And I think he understands that. But in terms of his response, when he came out, he didn't pout. You know, he served his penalty, and hopefully, you know, you don't have those, but he served his penalty, and he got ready to help his football team win, and, you know, made a couple big plays for us. Obviously, the interception was big for us, and, you know, couldn't be any more pleased with the way he played. And listen, you know, when you talk about those penalties, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but, hey, it's about discipline. It's about helping these young men grow up and understand, you know, there is a way you do things, and there's a way that you don't do things. And I think he responded very, very well to it.
You mentioned some other guys benefited the way from Randy played. I think Sosa was probably one of those guys. How have you seen him grow this year, and what do you think of the way he played against Tulsa?
Well, I think he, since I've been here, he probably had his best game, and there's no question about that. And he's got the potential to play even better. And you know, we're glad to see him step up and be a part of helping us get done what we did. And you know, it's there. And again, you know, what I really mean is this, and we talked to our players when we met with them yesterday. Hey, we got to get better. You know, we got to get better, and that's what we've been talking all year. The message is the exact same. We got to get better, and they had an opportunity to look at film, you know, and we talked about some of the runs inside. All of it wasn't because we got soft at times. You know, we changed coverages and we had a linebacker that didn't fit a couple plays the way he should have. That added to that, and those are things that we all got to improve. But Sosa did a really good job, and I think he played, you know, and not that he's been loafing. I think he played harder than he had all year, and that's important. And they got to understand that you know, you got to strain, and that's a word that we use constantly with them. You know, you just can't line up and just say, hey, I'm gonna do my job. But you got to do it with a certain amount of energy, and you got to be forceful at times. And we saw more of that on Saturday, and that's certainly good to see.
I think Sosa might have been the only starter who was in the game on those last 2 or 3 plays, last couple plays, and he was at nose, I think, on the sack. There were some guys dinged up, or what was the reason for that, him being in there?
Well, you know what? Normally I could answer most of the questions that I'm gonna get, but you know, we were rotating guys in and out, and you know, he just happened to be in there. And you know, you know, if you asked me if I knew who was in there, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'd have to go back to the film and look. But it was just one of those deals where he was in there, and that was good that he was in there.
Any more questions for Chief?
What was the reaction going into the locker room? I mean, you're not around the players until a few minutes after the game. What did you see when you came in?
Well, you know, I saw some relief. At first, and I saw a team that was, you know, really excited about the win. And you know, that's you know, it's what you can't imagine. But you guys know, you know, the amount of time that an athlete puts into the opportunities they're going to get. You know, and if we're guaranteed 12, you want to make them all count. But I certainly saw some joy and happiness, and that's great. That's great. That's the way it needs to be in a locker room after a game. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you say something about Derek Mason as a defensive mind and what he does and what you think of him?
Listen, I've had an opportunity to sit down with Derek before and visit, and he's a first-class guy. He's a first-class guy, and there's no question he's a great football coach. His resume is loaded. There's no question about that. He's done it for a long time, and you know, yeah, the way he runs his program at Vandy is the way you should do things. There's no question about that. Just first class all the way, and a brilliant mind. There's no question about that.